What is up, Retromaniacs? Welcome to Short Prints. My name is Mike. His name is Joe. His name is EP, and we're here to talk about cards. We've been doing the best of 2022 this month, and this week we are going to give you in order our top three stories of 2022. Let's get right into it. Number three, PSA reopens. We all know all of the craziness that ensued when PSA closed down in 2021. Some people thought they were never going to reopen, but they did open, and it's our number three story. Talk a little bit about it, Joe.
Well, thank God, right? I mean, I couldn't live. I couldn't live if PSA never reopened. I was going to bed every night praying. I don't often pray,
Mr. PSA.
Mr. PSA. No, I mean this is a huge story. We were kind of debating before the pod which story we would rank higher over the course of the three. And EP hit the nail on the head with this one, where this is a story that really does. Everyone in the hobby grades so much that to not have the biggest grading, it was like I can't even imagine the people who don't remember what it was like to not have to grade every single card you have. They were probably freaking out on a regular basis that they didn't have PSA to go to. So yeah, major story. And as we've gone on through the year, they've had specials. EP almost thought about submitting cards. I mean, it was a huge year.
Yeah, I'm like I feel like so many people got into this hobby over the last couple of years, and then one of the big reasons why was because you could send cards into PSA for $8 and get them back for $100, and everybody saw this as a thing. And then you're also grading these higher end cards, and so there's a lot of the buzz that was around the hobby was because of grading and because of getting a PSA 10 and the amount of monetary value that goes with that. So for that to not be a thing for, I forget the exact amount of time they were closed, but it was a significant amount of time for them to reopen. I mean, that just, it's the kind of thing that sends shockwaves through an industry. Even though there's a lot of people in the hobby that don't grade, I still think those people probably knew, hey, PSA reopened.
Yeah, let's be honest. The ability to be able to take your lower priced cards and grade them and get some kind of monetary value, that was a big factor in the hobby becoming as popular as it was. You had a lot of people who were out of it, like we were, that looked at our old cards and went, wow, if I grade this with PSA, if I get a 9 or a 10 out of this, I could get that for it. And, I know that is really one of the main factors that even got me back into this. Somebody who walked away from my card shop, 17 years ago, and had all this stuff left over that I hadn't even thought about looking at for many, many years. And when I saw what the card market was like, and I saw what a number of those cards that I had would sell for, I made my eyes just like, whoa, holy crap. And, I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people like that. I know, Joe, you had to wait like 4,387,000 days for yours, but,
longer.
Kind of the same thing for you, right?
Yeah. Well, what is the one card that we joke around is kind of the PSA card that really got us back into the hobby, the Thanos rookie card.
Yep. Absolutely.
But PSA 10s, it wasn't even, number one, it wasn't even a Thanos card. And number two, it wasn't his rookie. It was an Infinity Gauntlet card. But it was right, with the MCU and things like that. But that card in a PSA 10 from Series 2 Marvel Universe was going for like $400 at a certain point. It was absolutely crazy. So, yeah, the boom just everyone, and I get it, everyone wants the best. They can't not have the best. So to them, an ungraded card does not signify that it's the best card. You need a card in a slab with a number assigned to it for it to be the best. And when those folks didn't have that ability to make themselves feel really good about themselves for a while, when PSA was shut down, and prove that they have the best card or the best collection, then like I said before, I'm sure people were freaking out about it. EP, how many cards have you submitted so far?
I guess I was just about to say I don't have an account with PSA, but I do. I have submitted 3 cards through Joe, the Trout, the Kobe Bryant, and Tom Brady card, Tom Brady rookie card. Yeah, like I mean, and
the only one he sold was one to me.
Yeah,
and I feel like he overcharged me. I mean, what the hell?
You gotta watch him.
I tried to give you more for it. I tried to talk
You
into
did
more.
you did try and give me some of my money back.
It's the thing is though, I also, as much as I do not have an account, and I have not graded any cards myself, and I only have those 3 that I graded. Without that, I think we would still be talking. We'd still be talking, reminiscing about the shop, and we'd be golfing, and we'd be talking about fantasy football, but we wouldn't be doing this channel. We wouldn't be, back into what we're back into. And that Mike, you kind of hit it at that, but I mean, like, this channel would not exist without
definitely
the PSA, the boom in PSA.
And somewhere Nat Turner is sitting around going, wait, what's happening here? These guys are saying something nice about my company?
I don't think it was really nice. It was more just pointing out the obvious.
But, at the end of the day, we all love that feeling of the box coming back and opening up to see what we got. And like that, out of all the things in the hobby, I want to say that is probably my number one feeling of opening the PSA box or any grading company really, and waiting to see what treasures or non-treasures you might have inside. Right. So definitely.
And we love watching other people's videos too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll put a Lico 3 on like a 45-minute reveal as background noise as I'm, maybe I'm playing Madden or I'm setting lineups for fantasy football or sorting cards or whatever. I'll put on I've watched his old videos, like when he was actually looking at the camera like this and just turning the cards up because he didn't have the ability, 15 years ago, you didn't really have the ability to, have the front facing camera and on your phone and stuff. So yeah, it's some of my favorite videos that I'll watch are folks doing grading card reveals, PSA specifically, because that's where most of the videos seem to land.
One of the problems with putting one of those on the background sometimes is when they say, "Oh, and here, take a look at this Randy Moss. And this is here's the 98 Moss, whatever." You're like, wait, I got to rewind that. I got to see it. I don't want to listen to it. I need to make sure I rewind it and see that.
Whatever you're working on takes
stops.
Yep. Right. Yep. When he starts talking about baseball, I'm like, okay, I can tune out for a little bit. And then I'll hear him talk about a 98 Peyton Manning. And I'll be like, okay, I got to focus.
All right. Well, speaking of baseball cards, our number 2 story for the year was the sale of the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle and an SGC 9.5 for $12.6 million. It was the biggest card sale of all time. It pretty much, I think it doubled the second previous. I think it was a Honus Wagner, sold for $6 million. It is not only the highest selling card, it is also the highest selling piece of sports memorabilia that has ever been sold. So, and we all saw that card. Boy, that was beautiful. So, I mean, a better card it couldn't have gone to, but yeah, huge story for the hobby to have such a big sale that just everybody everywhere, whether you're into cards or not, people heard about it.
I mean, I work in the baseball industry, or I work in the baseball industry. I work in the news industry. So, and like,
spoiler alert. Yeah, spoiler alert. Why don't you tell us about this?
So when hobby news ends up showing up on all of the wire feeds and all the headlines, and I'm getting like, I have a bunch of Google alerts set up for different things. And when those things are popping up on that stuff, like, that's really cool to see this hobby that I love. Kind of like,
worlds collide.
Worlds colliding. I can't think of the word. I've lost my words
Shocking.
again.
Intertwined.
Yep. Intertwining of these different things that I care about. So I loved it. And I mean, I feel like that sale has can cause so many ripple effects across the entire industry. It's just kind of similar to the previous one previous item we talked about in the show.
I remember, I think I was visiting my grandparents when the sale actually happened. And I was sitting watching the local Central PA news. I think it was WNEP. And they talked about it. It might have been like a ABC story that was just fit into the local news.
Right.
It kind of, I think I texted you guys this, kind of pissed me off. They put the PSA 10 there by mistake. They had the PSA 10 picture for the mantle, and I'm like, oh, that one's not as good. You know, people are going to look at that and think, man, why would someone pay a lot of money for that crappy card?
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it was something that pretty much everyone, regardless of if you collected cards or not, they knew about, you know, and it's a lot of money. And we were talking about how it would boost, you know, EP thought it might boost mantle card sales just in general overall. People thought it might boost just vintage, maybe. It was nice to see a vintage card get some love instead of people
Definitely.
constantly talking about ultra modern and how expensive they are. So yeah, it was big time. It went well beyond just the hobby. It was a just a news story at that point. It wasn't a hobby news story. It was a news story.
Yeah, and it was definitely a big thing for the hobby as a whole. All right. The number one story we determined for this year was Fanatics jumping into the card market and taking away the baseball, the football, and the basketball licenses from Topps and Panini. Having a brand new player, a big player, jump in and just pretty much say, give us all. We're going to take it all. And it's pretty interesting. A little bit scary. Like I know there's a lot to unpack in this story, like a lot of different directions. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. Kind of excited, kind of nervous about it, but definitely the biggest story of the year.
Yeah, I mean, could it get any worse than Panini having all the licenses? Yeah, this was huge. I mean, it was crazy to have this company that wasn't specifically a card company going in and going from not being a card company at all to being now or soon to be the biggest card company ever, right? I mean, to have all of the licenses, and no offense to any licenses they might, all of the major licenses, we'll put it that way, to have all of those major licenses under one roof and then producing cards and never having done it before is kind of, you know, we'll see. I mean, we put a lot of faith in them that they will be able to make it work, but they have zero experience in cards. They're obviously going to bring people in, and EP, I know you want to talk about Topps, but still it's at the end of the day, it's Fanatics company. So what they do is it'll reflect on Fanatics.
I think from a business, like Mike said, there are so many branches to this topic that I thought of three different things I was going to talk about when Joe was done. But let me go on the Topps thing. Well, first off, let me just say Fanatics. I think them buying the licenses obviously was the biggest business deal. But as far as making me feel better about the purchase and just the probably the smartest move they made was then buying Topps, just because
definitely.
Like Topps has been known since 1952. When people think of trading cards, a lot of them think of Topps, and I mean, I think that was by far they could, if they wouldn't have bought Topps, I would still be sitting here. I don't know if I would be as excited about cards. I would definitely not be as excited about cards as I am right now. I'd be very, very much worried about the potential future of the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, they had to buy a company, like they just did. Like, you need some kind of experience in manufacturing trading cards, and they had none. So, you know, they really only had a couple choices out there, and I think they made the right one. I think Topps name and their brands has a lot more value than Panini does, or even Upper Deck. And, you have to have those people that know the card market in place. Like, you're going to have some other decisions being made, some other people at a high level coming up with things, but you do need that. Like, when Panini took over and came into the market, they were producing the sticker cards and everything in Europe for quite a while, but they bought Playoff and they kept most of Playoff's company in place. So, Panini America is basically Playoff. Like, that's where they started. So Fanatics is doing the same thing with Topps, and, makes me feel a lot better about what might happen with Fanatics. Again, we don't know what's going to happen, and there
Right.
might be things that we're talking about that we're not really excited about, but at least they have people that know what they're doing, that have done this for a while, that they can use that experience and maybe put some of their own ideas in place, but still have that groundwork in place to make sure that they're just not going to do something stupid and kill the market, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, buying Topps, I think that was the biggest concern we had when Topps lost their baseball license was, oh wait, is Topps not going to be a thing anymore? Like,
Right. Yeah.
which was crazy to think, because I mean, Mike, you're clearly the oldest amongst us because of your, people can tell with that gray beard. But I mean, even someone as old as you remembers there being Topps. Didn't you have a Topps Wayne Gretzky rookie? Didn't you get it out of a pack or something like that?
I did. I do.
So
And
like,
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's behind the Christmas tree over there somewhere.
So, I mean, you've been buying Topps since you were a kid, and, your dad probably bought Topps when he was a kid and things like that. So to be worried that company may no longer be producing cards, I think we got, a lot of relief to know that Fanatics was going to not just buy this company, but I think let them, to a certain extent, run the card side of the Fanatics, conglomerate. And, maybe they end up buying, maybe the biggest story of 2023 when we're doing this year from now is they bought Panini, and they're going to have all the Panini IP that was just playoff and Pacific IP. But, you kind of hope that a lot of these like long running sets, like I don't want to see Donruss not be a thing, so like,
Right.
I don't want to see Prism. I don't think it's as good as it used to be, but I don't want to see Prism not be a thing. So hopefully Fanatics keeps it up, but buying Topps is a really good start.
Yeah, I think most of the people listening or watching this podcast or listening to us, I think they
available on Apple.
It is
available on iTunes.
I feel like they probably know like Topps' history, but for anybody who doesn't quite grasp it, like it would be like Coca-Cola not making soda anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's in my opinion, like that is how ingrained they are as the number one thing, and that's crazy. Another one of those branches that, again, there's a ton of them here, is we get the Topps Chrome, Topps Finest brands back of the sports that we talked a lot about how much we want to hit Topps Chrome football back, and so to get those back, they're still iconic from back when they were making them before, and they will probably be iconic again. I feel like.
Yeah, same thing with Bowman football too. I mean, not to that people consider Brady's most accessible rookie card is Bowman because it's not as expensive and he's in his Patriots uniform and things like that. So having Bowman come back to football and doing some of the things that they could do with rookies and like they've done with baseball, I think that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, losing Topps would have been a major blow for the hobby. So, like, that would have been sad. Like I would have been sad if Topps wasn't going to make cards anymore. So definitely a big win there for them doing it. Instead of buying Panini though, Michael Rubin, come here. I want to tell you something. Buy Upper Deck.
Yes.
Would you please buy Upper Deck?
Yeah.
Metal and Ultra, bring it back.
Bring back Metal. Bring back, imagine SP football, SP basketball.
Star rookies in Upper Deck football products.
I mean, I know Prism.
Oh, and Jordan,
Tiger,
LeBron,
Wayne Gretzky. It would be if they bought Upper Deck, it would be so much bigger for the hobby than them buying Panini.
Right.
Like I know Prism has its fan base and totally understandable, but you could make a Prism product out of something else. You don't have to call it Prism, but like getting
Prism with a Z.
Yeah,
like
Prism with a Z. Yeah, but yeah, like how great would it be if they could bring the Upper Deck brand back into it too? I that would be exciting. I know it's probably not going to happen, but if I could make my big story for 2023 ahead of time, I want them to buy Upper Deck instead of Panini.
What are the percent odds do you guys think that they buy either Upper Deck or Panini? What do you guys think the odds are that is one of our top stories of next year, that they bought one of those two?
I don't think they're going to buy Upper Deck. Like, I'm guessing they're probably not going to.
Mm.
I don't like the Panini thing. It's been going around for how long, but
Right.
why? Like, really, why do you have to buy it? You could pull a Panini and just buy the IP when they go out of business, because Panini isn't going to stay in business. They're not going to be able to once the license is over in a couple of years. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough. I'm sure Panini wants a lot more than Fanatics really feels like they're willing. I kind of feel like they're not going to buy them. I could be completely wrong, just a guess, but I kind of feel like if they were seriously going to buy them, something might have gotten done by now.
And I think Upper Deck is probably just doing just fine. I mean, so they've got those big name players that are exclusive to them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some phenomenal products, and they have the Marvel licenses.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very popular. Like, those cards
they
are
are
extremely
really
popular.
popular.
Yeah.
They sell out really
So
fast.
I don't know if there's a point to them. Like, it's kind of like when we were talking about PSA grading X amount of cards, and they're making a lot of money, and then we look at SGC's numbers, and the numbers are nowhere near as high, but if they're charging $30 a card or whatever, and they're still monthly making a good amount of change, and they don't have the overhead kind of thing. So maybe Upper Deck feels the same way. We're doing good with what we have. We don't have to expand.
Right.
We don't have to try and we're our own little thing over here. And guess what? We're going to have something that Fanatics will never have. And that's Jordan autograph cards, LeBron autograph cards. Oh, that triple logo, man, that's cute. Here's a LeBron auto, So like, I think Upper Deck is just happy where they're at. And I don't think they need to sell. I'm sure that the company is it's got to be doing okay to pay those big stars to be exclusive with them. And the Marvel cards may be the thing propping it up, for this little bubble. They've been doing really, really well with the Marvel stuff. That people are fanatical about it, pun intended.
Yeah, and like having the exclusive deals with those guys too allows them to print, non-licensed product like Goodwin Champions and stuff like that, and have it be a pretty popular product. Like you can't buy a box of Panini and get a LeBron James or Michael Jordan autograph. You can't buy a box of Topps anything or get a Tiger Woods or a Wayne Gretzky autograph. You have to buy an Upper Deck product. So, it allows them to do some things that they wouldn't be able to do, with non-licensed product if they didn't have those guys under contract. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're doing just fine. They might not be the biggest card manufacturer, but they do some really cool stuff, and they give people a reason to want to buy their product.
Yeah. But you're right, Mike. I would much prefer, if Ruben was going to lay out money, I'd much prefer him to buy Upper Deck.
Oh yeah, me too.
Than Panini.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, Mike, I think you had talked about how some of your favorite rips this year were Goodwin Champions and the Skybox Metal, the Metal Universe, or I don't know what they called it, but the Metal Universe, which is like a Goodwin's Champion kind of, but metal. Like, and I really like. I agree. Like, those products are, they're just vehicles to get those autographs in there, and people love it. Like, and really cool cards, and good.
Yeah, I don't know how valuable or how sought after hockey products are, but if you have a shot at getting a Wayne Gretzky auto, which you don't anywhere else, I mean, I'm sure people chase stuff like that all the time out of Upper Deck products. I don't know how this turned into like an Upper Deck episode, but I mean,
here we are. This is what
here we are. I mean, it's such a cool product. I think we can, and not just Upper Deck stuff. I mean, keep in mind they have all the Fleer licenses. Like, that's what's some of the coolest stuff about the Marvel is they take those inserts from Fleer and from Skybox that they did basketball cards with, and they did football inserts with, and they turn them into Marvel cards, and they use those inserts. Like, it's such a genius idea. Precious metal gems. We didn't even say those three magical words. PMGs, man. Everyone wants them. Everyone wants them, no matter what the product is. They want those PMGs. The first high-end numbered insert. I even bought a Bert Emanuel one, for Christ's sake. I mean, come on.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is. All right, guys. Well, those were our 3 top stories of 2022. Fun chat. We'll be back next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
See ya.